investigators have told them a person of interest has now been identified. And the hospital says the investigation does not now involve any active employee.
The medical examiner called the manner of death the homicide. And in Boston, several dozen marchers and counter-demonstrators gathering in Boston's Copley Square for a straight pride parade. Among the scheduled speakers, leader of the Proud Boys, which the Anti-Defamation League describes as a, quote, extremist conservative group. You're listening to ABC News.
Here's what's happening in the Valley. An attempted robbery took place at Conroy's Party Shop on South Avenue around 11:30 p.m. Friday. Police say 4 men with guns entered the store, 2 of which were shot by the store's owner. Those 2 men were taken to St. Elizabeth Hospital and are currently in critical condition. At least a dozen people were in the area during the shooting, some inside the store. Luckily, none of the customers or employees were hurt. The Boardman 18-year-old who prosecutors say encouraged others to shoot federal agents is going to stay locked up until his trial. Justin Olson was in federal court yesterday. He was indicted earlier this month. Olson entered not guilty pleas to charges of threatening to assault federal law enforcement officers and making interstate communication threats. Mahoning County engineer Pat Giannetti said the project to build a roundabout along Western Reserve Road is making progress and on schedule. The project will convert the old 5 Points intersection with North Lima and Springfield roads into a continuous loop. Giannetti said work will start on the southern end of the roundabout after the holiday weekend, and barring any unforeseen issues, the project will be completed later this year. After 150 years, The Vindicator published its last paper yesterday. Beginning today, the Vindicator edition of the Tribune Chronicle will be published for the first time. Current Vindy subscribers will automatically receive the new edition. In sports, the Indians were shut out by the Rays yesterday 4-0. Game 2 of the series is set for this afternoon with a 6:10 first pitch. Indians warm up at 5:35 here on 570 WKBN. From the Power Chevrolet Buick GMC of Calcutta, Ohio newsroom, I'm Viking Jim on News Radio 570 WKBN.
Need an AC checkup? Call Mazda's Air Conditioning in Girard, 330-545-6063. Your factory authorized Bryant dealer. Now, the Storm Team 27 forecast.
Temperature is going to be right where you want them as you head out for your Saturday afternoon in the mid to upper 70s with partly cloudy skies. As we head into overnight, we drop back down to the mid 50s. Great sleeping weather. In the Storm Team 27 Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Alexis Walters.
Your house becomes a home with Window Depot.
Valley homeowners trust Window Depot of Youngstown. Our triple-pane windows offer unmatched beauty and energy efficiency.
To the hundreds of customers who have trusted us to remodel their home, we say thank you. Hi, it's Rich from Window Depot. Did you know all of our products are made right here in Ohio and Western Pennsylvania? Stay tuned to learn more about our current special offers.
It's our window blowout sale. Receive free installation on a house full of new windows. Ask about 18 months same as cash financing, senior and military discounts. Plus a bonus the first 10 callers to call 1-800-433-8577. That's 1-800-433-8577. Receive a $20 dinner for 2 gift card with their in-home estimate. Valley homeowners, call 1-800-433-8577. That's 1-800-433-8577. Call Window Depot now.
Most doctors don't look at our vitamin C levels, and we don't make our own. Are you walking around tired all the time and just not right? Tune in this Sunday morning at 7 a.m. to hear world-renowned Dr. Michael Pincus give valuable information to help. That's this Sunday at 7 a.m.
All right, welcome everybody. This is the Youngstown Computer Show. I am Joe Danier, owner of Youngstown Computer, and we get to do this here on Saturdays. We get to talk about things that are happening in the tech world. We open the floor up to all of our listeners all program long. We're kind of multifaceted. We're portion of us are here to help people who are just getting started in tech and giving them that urge to use this as the tool and utility that it really is to improve their lives and to make things better, make them more able in the world to be able to participate. We also talk about things that are in the future and things that are to happen. And as you know, we get our lives more integrated in technology. You having more sort of exposure to it and intelligence behind it and having angles that you're running on this gives you an advantage over the people who look to do you harm, people who do scams and whatnot. So we like to arm everybody with the information that's necessary to make using computers a really practical and good addition to your family lives, your personal lives, relational lives, and or professional lives as well. So that's what we do all program long. 330-729-9977. You can call all program long, as well as text me at 330-333-1570. Get that number locked into your cell phones. It's cool when I'm driving around and I hear a host on 570 and I feel like engaging with them. I'll send them a snarky text while they're doing their program. They don't always read them, but it's cool to be able to interact with hosts on this program. This is unlike any other channel that you listen to. You really get people who live in the Valley. You get expertise from people who live in the Valley. You get opinions from people who live in the Valley. And most of us are big advocates for the city and what we do here. So feel free to throw some bombs my way. 330-333-1570 as the program progresses today. Bunch of topics. We might be having a guest later on in the program from TEDx, and I won't spoil, that deal, but TEDx is Youngstown is we're going to have a TEDx event here coming up in September, but we'll kind of let them do their own presentation if they are a guest on the program today. Okay, right off the get-go, and I want to do, this is sort of like a more political thing, so I'm going to hit this pretty hard and then move on from it pretty quick. We are a computer manufacturer in the Valley. So we kind of, a couple Novembers ago, I started getting mad that the stuff that I was selling from the National end, the Dells, the Asus, the stuff like that, the quality was changing from what we were used to. I'm from the very beginning. This is back in Gateway Dell days. That I was a non-integrated industry standard computer builder. I did not like when they started taking these different components and putting them on single boards and really stripping out the quality. It gave everybody more access to this equipment, but it also made it so that there's nobody who would actually want to make and manufacture it. There was just too much competition. There was no margin left in it. I did not want to be a participant in being a computer builder back then because everybody sucked the joy out of putting together a quality machine. And the second part of that was I had the inclination that when they made it really cheap that they would be crappy, but it really wasn't in the beginning. They started integrating this stuff, and though I didn't believe in doing that, it still was a halfway decent machine. So almost for a decade, we ended up being a reseller for Dell, and where we didn't make very much money on selling the equipment, it still was quality enough to be able to put in the field. We still have these Dells that are lasting 8 and 9 years that we put in there, and we're just now starting to cycle those things out. So, but now they started really squeezing the technology and, putting power supplies that were underpowered, where we were used to 400 watt power supplies. And all of a sudden we were down to like 220 watt. Now, and the reason this is yes, I understand that the boards were consuming less power and processors were consuming less power. The problem is when you own a power supply, that thing degrades over time. So percentage wise, it lasts less and, it provides less and less power as you use it. So you might get to third and fourth year, and that power supply is struggling to be able to keep up with the power that's necessary for the rest of your equipment. And that's where my disagreement was. I couldn't see that power supply that on day one would work perfect. I knew on on year 3 or 4 that I knew it was going to start not being able or struggling to keep up. So that's why we decided, I'm sick of selling these substandard or mediocre Dells, and we got in the manufacturing business. And I put it out there that, we're not going to be the cheapest, and that's going to be the point where if you have the budget to be able to spend for something that's manufactured here by our people, we're going to source the components where you're going to get a quality box, something that we believe in, and it's not going to be at the same price point that you're going to find on the retail side for obvious reasons. And so, but you guys stormed and filled us up with orders, and I am so thankful for that. And every person that walks to the door and buys one of these machines, I know they're making sort of an advocacy choice in purchasing, and they're not only are they want to they know that they can get it cheaper. That's number one. So they're choosing to buy a product that costs a little bit more, but they know it was built here, not only in the United States, but here right in Youngstown. So if any of you could picture Youngstown having a manufacturing facility, keep this up, and we will definitely be a manufacturer, a national manufacturer in the United States. It's supported by the people of Youngstown. So again, I thank everybody for doing that. But where that story was going, I started noticing a couple of weeks ago when we're sourcing components, some of the stuff that we buy started to get very hard to find. Suppliers started going out of stock and back order. And then so I'm like, okay, well, what's going on here? And so I started sourcing it for maybe 2 manufacturers where I'd put in a purchase order for something that, Gigabyte versus Asus or some of the other brand names. And then they all started becoming scarce. And this is sort of reminiscent when we had a big tsunami and it wiped out memory production somewhere in Asia. I don't even remember where the tsunami was, but it wiped out memory production. So when we sourced, when you saw somebody had some memory, you ended up buying them all up, and so you just created these shortages in electronics. Well, we're getting that right now. And what's happening is there's this reaction from the tariffs in China, because regardless if you like it or not, most of the suppliers for electronics are coming out of manufacturers in Asia and China more specifically. Now, what this means is it's a really good time to bring up sort of the political nature of this topic. You guys as consumers get to decide whether or not you want to give up your super cheap electronics and purchase them from suppliers, or give new, let's just say someone decides to say, okay, well, we can't get memory chips anymore that's coming from Asia. We got to get them from somewhere. We still need to produce these products. Maybe Patriot Memory, which is a United States vendor, right? Maybe you start buying them from there, and you're like, hey, well, I was buying a stick of DDR4 for $37 from China, and now I got to go to Patriot. I'm spending $75 for that exact same stick of memory. I got to make that choice whether or not the stuff that I buy is going to be more expensive, and I have to be okay with that. Because here's the 2 things that we're buying. Number one, our labor is more expensive. Everything from paying people's hourly rates to their benefits and Social Security and everything else. So you're paying, when you're buying that stick of memory, it costs more because our labor rates are more expensive. Where in China, they don't have those same controls and those same things that we're buying in. So that's number one. And that's not even of the 2 things I'm going to mention, the more important of the 2. The second one is that China doesn't have the same regulations that we do. They don't have the same standards that we do. So when you want to manufacture something that's super dirty or is hard to accomplish in the United States, you outsource it to China, because they're their EPA is not going to say, okay, well, we're going to harvest these heavy metals and we're going to put them in there, and there's going to be all of this oversight from regulators with the EPA. That doesn't happen there. They're going to make it super cheap by ignoring the fact that it's toxic and people are having exposure to it, and it pollutes the ground and the water. So when we want something dirty, we go to our henchmen here and say, hey, we need some dirty work, Mr. China. Why don't you do it? And they'll not only do it, but they'll do it on the cheap, like it's not even a dirty thing. So our dependency on this country to be able to do all of this stuff, it's twofold. We're going to pay more for the product, and it's going to have all of the EPA standards. So we got to look at it from all facets. I know that we're going to be buying more of this stuff from United States manufacturers, and we know that it's going to cost more. The second part of that is, do we stick to the regulation and EPA standards, or do we make it easier for manufacturers to do this stuff? Because honestly, this stuff, some of this stuff cannot be done in the United States, period, because of the regulations. Nobody will tackle it because of the implications. So you want to say that China has these low EPA standards? Well, we're just outsourcing the dirty work to them. So that's kind of our environmental problem too, because of that outsource. So if we bring that in states, we've got the same problems that they do, because it's the process that makes the effect on the environment and the pollution and the how toxic it is to be able to work with these products. So again, tough choices in the electronic industry where we could talk a tough game about having this stuff in the United States, but when it really comes to the reality of it, some of us don't want to see where the animals are taken down and they're butchered and whatnot. We just want to see them when they're in the grocery store so that we could feel good about that's the process. But there's much more to the process than most of us get a glimpse of. And it like I said, it is kind of dirty and it is kind of messy. So again, it's a topic worth discussing. I do want to see more manufacturing done here. And I don't mind paying a little bit more. I mean, there's a point where, you can make a couple token purchases like with computers or something big where you're paying a little bit more for that. But what happens if every piece of electronics that you touch, your TV, your phone, everything costs 40 and 50% more because of those processes? I would much rather pay a guy that lives here in the United States that has a chance to go shop at a restaurant or spend money at the with department stores. If we're going to funnel it so it stays here, I just want to see that it's a concerted effort so that we don't have this loss where, okay, well, this guy spent it local and this guy spent it local, but then this guy decided he wasn't going to play that and just funnels it back to where we were trying to avoid in the first place. You know what I mean? So it has to be something that we kind of have to all agree in and believe in, getting a better understanding of how the process works. Lets us make it truly be effective. But if we can, Foxconn, they bring a manufacturing facility. I think it's to somewhere out west, maybe Seattle or something like that. They brought manufacturing. These are chip manufacturers, integrated circuits, and so these are all electronics that are being made here on the West Coast. That is a really good start, and especially if it starts to be a struggle to have access to some of these electronics, then you're going to see some West Coast companies pop up and say, hey, there's a shortfall of memory sticks here. I know how to make memory sticks. Let's do this. And it gives some of our United States companies a little bit of an advantage and a chance to do this. So it sucks in one way where it creates that price hike for all of us that we all love the fact that TV cost, $400 or $300, right? We love that. But at what expense is that, slow funnel down to the drain? So, if you have any comments on that, I'd be happy to hear what you've got to say. 330-729-9977. A couple more topics to, aside from the China tariffs. Another thing that's happening over in China is they've been doing this, but this is we're sort of emulating what China's doing with social credit scores. This is where the government of China decides what someone or a numeric value for people who have proper behaviors versus improper behaviors, and where they start you at 1,000 points when you're born. As you do things that they disagree with, they start taking points away from you, and your points are what then allows you to participate, like travel and get jobs and do stuff. If you have a low score, they don't look at you as being a very responsible person, and then you don't have the same rights that somebody who has a higher score does. Okay, so you can make the argument that to an extent, the United States credit score also does the same thing, where it represents your risk from a financial perspective that allows banks and universities and jobs to be able to interact with you to see how reputable you could be as an individual. And this is just taken to another level where this social credit score allows you or disallows you to participate in your community. And I read the article, the details of it, and I don't necessarily know how it works, where if you make some mistakes and your social credit score goes down, if you can heal that score by making better choices, and then you can get back to or what if it's just once the point's gone, it's gone. But it's an interesting read, because this is actually a real thing in China. But our social media companies, the guys that are on Facebook and Instagram and Twitter and all those guys, they are contemplating something with your social interactions, where rating you as an individual, whether you're a scam artist or you're a guy that posts hate-filled things on social media, you're going to get a reputation score as you participate in social media, which is going to follow you when you go place to place. This is what they're contemplating, to be able to, take and weight the things that people say. And if you have a low score, then not many people see what you have to say. If you have a higher score, then people see what you have to say. And if it makes all of us, anybody listening to this, feel a little weirded out that this is, 1984, we use that as sort of a cliche to all things when it comes to Big Brother type of stuff. But this is like, huge implications with how we, in our everyday lives, what that could mean. And some people who are better participants have nothing to fear. But what about the people who have those fringe beliefs? They're going to be cut out from the complete equation of our society, and that's a scary proposition. All right, we're going to take a break. Come back, take some of your phone calls, 330-729-9977. You can text me at 333-1570. You are listening to the Youngstown Computer Show on 570 WKBN. I'll be right back.
Right now, North Korea.
Molly was murdered.
Judge Kavanaugh.
Fire. Extreme major hurricane. It's the largest flood in panic.
What the hell is going on?
Good thing we know what's going on. Just turn us on.
Listen and to hear.
570 WKBN.
Win your way to our 2019 iHeartRadio Music Festival, plus $1,000. Yes. And you can score the ultimate VIP money can't buy grand prize experience, including front row tickets, 10 grand spending cash, backstage access with VIP meet and greets, first class flights, a Nightingale suite at the new Park MGM, and so much more. 2 nights, September 20th and 21st.
T-Mobile Arena here in Las Vegas.
You could be there in person. Just listen for your next chance to text and win.
Now at Menards, save big money on your next project with 11% off everything. Build your next outdoor project with AC2 pressure-treated lumber. Menards offers the best selection of green and cedar-tone pressure-treated lumber. Right now, save 11% off all AC2 pressure-treated boards, lumber, timbers, and decking. Finish all of your projects with 11% off everything. Now at Menards. Good through September 2nd. Savings are a mail-in rebate. Some exclusions apply. See store for details.
Save big money at Menards.
Here's some great MVSN offers.
Handyman Ace Hardware of Struthers is now open and carries everything you need for your home. Hardware, plumbing, painting, lawn and garden, even pool supplies. Shop the new Handyman Ace Hardware of Struthers in the 5th Street Plaza.
Ace is the place with the helpful hardware, folks.
The patio is now open at Scichetti's in Canfield. Now you can enjoy Tony's signature steaks along with his famous Italian dishes on the beautiful new patio. Tonight, enjoy Scichetti's, Youngstown food with attitude on Ironwood Boulevard in Canfield.
You deserve the very best. You deserve the Stadium Cadillac experience. You'll love the wide selection at Stadium Cadillac, and you'll appreciate the unparalleled customer service and the great selection of certified pre-owned Cadillacs. Discover your Stadium Cadillac experience.
It's time for all the excitement of go-karts and so much more at Sports World Family Fun Center on South Avenue in Boardman. Enjoy 18-hole adventure golf, arcade games, the batting cages, and so much more. Visit us on Facebook or online at BoardmanSportsWorld.com.
First pitch is at 5:05 today. It's doubleheader baseball action as your Mahoning Valley Scrappers take on the West Virginia Black Bears, minor league affiliate of the Pittsburgh Pirates. It's also Fan Appreciation Night, featuring prizes and giveaways throughout the game. Doubleheader baseball action starting at 5:05 with the Scrappers and the Black Bears at Eastwood Field in Niles. For tickets, call 330-505-0000 or online at mvscrappers.com. Baseball with bites.
Has your doctor recently ordered a CAT scan, MRI, or any x-rays for you? Remember, it's your choice where you have your imaging done. And that's why Dr. Adam Crouch and the DMXI team is here for you. DMXI patients save anywhere from 75 to 95% off of their medical imaging. And DMXI is now offering a 64-slice CT scanner for the head, neck, chest, and abdominal regions for the most accurate images. If you need medical imaging, go to DMXI.com and see the DMXI difference. DMXI, just off Todd Avenue in Boardman.
Hey, you know when you discover something brand new and you feel like you just have to tell everybody about it? Well, that's how I feel about Juul. Now, Juul is a satisfying alternative to cigarettes, and I'm passionate about it, and I've been trying to convert every single family member, every friend who still smokes. Now, Juul is not like any of those complicated vaporizers that maybe you've seen and tried, but it's by far the best I've ever personally used. It is so simple to use. No buttons, no switches. You just insert the Juul pod, and I'm ready to go. And the best part is Juul has no cigarette ash, no odor, no mess. That means I don't have to worry about the way my hands, my clothes, or my breath smell. And I 1,000% recommend Juul, Juul. Now, if you're one of 34 million Americans, adults who smoke, know there is a satisfying alternative to cigarettes. Go to Juul.com/Switch America. That's JUUL.com/Switch America. Warning, this product contains nicotine. Nicotine is an addictive chemical.
All right, welcome back, everybody. This is the Youngstown Computer Show. I am Joe Danier, owner of Youngstown Computer, and this is your Saturday show where we talk about things that are happening in technology. A text message, Joe, what happened to your Struthers location? No one's there during posted business hours. No one returns messages for service. Disappointing. Okay, I sort of mentioned this a couple weeks ago, and I thanked everybody for being patient as we retooled residential services. We technically still do residential service, but we're doing a small sampling as of right now. For the last, 5 or 6 years, we just hemorrhaged on that side of the company where we couldn't figure out a good way to make any money. We kind of carried the services because everybody depended on it, but it was just a never-ending cycle of losing money on that side. And so we had to sort of limit it. We couldn't do that forever. So we're restructuring. We're retooling and figuring out how to be able to not only provide the service, but do it in a way where we can pay the people who work there, a decent buck and still be able to provide good service for the customer side. So again, I just appreciate everybody who has been patient. I can't make any promises on it because it is a tough nut. Residential services is tough because of sometimes the extensive amount of time to be able to solve some of these computer problems. And a lot of times you've then exceeded the cost of what somebody's willing to pay. So we just set our pricing based on market pricing, even if the costs to be able to serve those products were high. And we weren't able to do that. So and it's on our end. I mean, we've got to be able to figure out how to do it. And it's not. And until we do that, we just couldn't do it perpetually. So in the future, that office is going to be sort of my training center in the short term. And we're going to do everything on site. So if you have a service call, you need something from us, we will have a website to be able to pick out an appointment window. Just go ahead and schedule it. There won't be a guy sitting at the front counter anymore, ever. So there won't be any walk-in traffic at all. So everything's going to be what we service in the field. You can interact with us digitally. You can make a phone call and claim a spot. But a lot of it's good. We don't have somebody staffed to be able to handle that. And that's why some of these calls get missed and you can't line up with someone because it's just, again, it's really tough to be able to pull this off. But in the future, if you're on Facebook, you can go to Facebook, go to Youngstown Computer LLC, and we have two window blocks every day from 10 to 12 and from 2 to 4. You can pick either one of those and schedule yourself, and that's yours. Somebody will show up at your place and get the stuff scheduled. But there will not be a drop it off, walk into the store thing just because I've never been able to figure out how to make that kind of a thing profitable without having sort of like a bunch of retail space to go along with it. So thanks for the message. And again, thanks for being patient. And I know you're getting a little short with us, and I understand that. We've been in that area for 10 years, and to all of a sudden not be able to walk in and do that, I know you got used to that. And I apologize, but again, I hope you understand that, we can't operate at a loss on that kind of side of the company forever. Next one, it makes you wonder what the cost difference would be if companies blended production of goods between the U.S. and Asian producers instead of relying on China for the bulk of electronics. That is a good point. If we did this intelligently, we could still leverage the valuable parts. And if you have people that are worth their weight that can negotiate some of these things, mutually beneficial exchanges instead of just political exchanges. Maybe we could get the better of both of those points. So thanks for that comment. I appreciate it. A bunch of topics for the next hour and a half. So sit back, and if you have anything you want to get on the program, feel free. 330-729-9977, or you can text me at 333-1570. You're listening to the Youngstown Computer Show on 570 WKBN. I'll be back.
At the biggest county fair in the state. Y'all come early and stay late. A world of whirling rides and games of skill. Tasty treats and concerts that thrill. Will give you something to crow about. Boo and oink, let's shout it out. At the Canfield Fair, the 6 best days of summer. 6 best days.
Don't miss the 173rd Canfield Fair, August 28th through Labor Day.
Here's what's happening in the Valley. An attempted robbery took place at Conroy's Party Shop on South Avenue around 11:30 p.m. Friday. Police say 4 men with guns entered the store, 2 of which were shot by the store's owner. Those 2 men were taken to St. Elizabeth Hospital and are currently in critical condition. At least a dozen people were in the area during the shooting, some inside the store. Luckily, none of the customers or employees were hurt. The Boardman 18-year-old who prosecutors say encouraged others to shoot federal agents is going to stay locked up until his trial. Justin Olson was in federal court yesterday. Olson entered not guilty pleas to charges of threatening to assault federal law enforcement officers and making interstate communication threats. From the Power Chevrolet Buick GMC of Calcutta, Ohio newsroom, I'm Viking Jim on News Radio 570 WKBN.
Our next update at 2. From the O'Charley's Digital Studios. $9.99 menu, 9 great meals, 1 great price. O'Charley's. For your home or business, call Mazza's Heating and AC in Girard, 330-545-6063. Your factory authorized Bryant dealer. Now, the Storm Team 27 forecast.
Temperature is going to be right where you want them as you head out for your Saturday afternoon in the mid to upper 70s with partly cloudy skies. As we head into overnight, we drop back down to the mid 50s. Great sleeping weather. In the Storm Team 27 Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Alexis Walters.
Hi, this is Bob Davis with Fairway Ford in Canfield. We are on a record pace for F-150 sales, and we are keeping that going. What that means is Fairway, your F-150 leader, gets more trucks from the factory because we sell more. We sell the most because of price, service, and a simple, no-hassle sales process. See us at fairwayfordohio.com or 330-5334. Fairway, that's the way we do business.
What makes a house a home? At the corner of Carnegie and Ontario, it's the pounding of a drum and a full house rallying together.
Enjoy the postseason chase and Sugardale Dollar Dogs on Tuesday, September 3rd. Get tickets on Indians.com.
What makes a house a home? At the corner of Carnegie and Ontario, it's the pounding of a drum and a full house rallying together.
Snag a Carlos Santana red jersey courtesy of Medical Mutual on Wednesday, September 4th. Get tickets on Indians.com.
Prescription products require an online physician consultation and are only available if the physician determines a prescription is appropriate. See website for full details.
Hey guys, good news. The outrageously expensive little blue pill is now generic, which means you can get the prescription medication to treat ED at affordable prices. And Hims makes it extra affordable. Right now, get your first month supply for free. All you pay is just $5 for your medical consultation when you go to 4hims.com/joy. After that, it's just $30 for a month's supply. Sure beats paying big bucks for just one blue pill, doesn't it? Plus, you won't need an awkward in-person doctor's appointment to get the prescription. Hims has doctors online who can prescribe the medication, and a pharmacy sends it right to your door. It's affordable, private, and incredibly easy. Nobody likes dealing with ED. Now, thanks to Hims, nobody has to. And that's really good news. To get your first order for just $5, you need to go to this exclusive address, 4hims.com/joy. That's 4hims.com/joy for your first month for just $5. FORHIMS.com/joy.
Ron Burgundy Podcast.
The Ron Burgundy Podcast is back with a brand new season on the free iHeartRadio app. Make sure you tap follow so you don't miss a thing.
Hi, this is Ron Burgundy from the Ron Burgundy Podcast. We are back in the studio. Season 2, baby.
The iHeartRadio app, #1 for podcasts.
Listen to the Ron Burgundy Podcast on the iHeartRadio app.
iHeartRadio.
All right, welcome back, everybody. This is the Youngstown Computer Show. I am Joe Danier, owner of Youngstown Computer, and we get to do this here on Saturday. This is the service Saturdays here on 570 WKBN, where you get local experts in different professions to be able to share their craft with all of you, and they open up the phone lines to talk about, answer any questions or field any comments you might have. Very helpful, especially with as integrated we are with technology, to have somebody that you could bounce something off, and at free of charge. Beautiful price of nothing. So 330-729-9977. And just to make mention, sort of after the previous comment going into the break, what's happened since residential services have gone off of our radar and not been sort of the focus of our resources and attention, we have grown so much on the commercial services side. And so we're going to be probably hiring another 3 people one going, or actually two before the end of the year, and then one going into spring, just to feel the amount of a demand on the commercial service. That is our sweet spot. That's what we've always been really great at, and I feel that we offer a great value rather than having internal IT staff, having someone that you can go to and take your internal IT staff and have a smaller budget than having someone on staff and having to dig up 40 hours worth of stuff for an IT person to do. So smaller and middle companies, it's amazing for. But what that means, like I said, is that we are a huge growing company. Instead of having the residential services as the focus of our attention and it being sort of doing, I love the residential service. I love the people behind the residential services. So I wanted to make it work more than the math said that it was going to work. And so I probably kept it around longer than I should have, taken some injury for it because of that. But again, the commercial services are growing leaps and bounds. We're adding amazing staff to our arsenal here, and we're still having some limited exposure on the residential. So if you're one of those people and you do want us to come pay attention to you, pick one of those 2-hour blocks and purchase it, and we'll definitely come out and help you. Again, it's instead of doing, we at one point we were doing 25 computers a day through the residential services, and that is a lot. When you have a 2-day turnaround time, being able to do the service and get the repairs done, return it to the customer, and audit those out. I mean, that is we don't have these. We had some really strict standards, so that was a lot of man hours to be able to pull that off and do it well. And our guys in the past, Anthony and David and all those guys, did a really fantastic job doing that. And again, it was a shame that we couldn't figure out a formula to be able to make it work, but it is what it is. So I'm going to stop talking about that. 330-729-9977. Okay. Along with that, there are going to be some things that we're going to need. We're going to be doing in the future, and we're going to need some help with. I mentioned that we're going to be hiring 3 more people before the end of the year, and 2 of those people or one of those people, I should say, is a new sort of a new position for us. So we've always been hiring level 1 field techs or level 1 bench techs, level 2 field techs, and then level 3 managers. And so when we do interviewing, we take all 3 of them. Right now, the next guy that we're hiring is going to be one of our bench techs / field techs. But we sort of work like a college where you might come in as a level 1. And the goal with the level 1 is to learn our processes. So you'll have bench work to do, and you'll have some wiring to do, and some really low-hanging fruit, some low-end stuff. And then getting to know the processes that are behind how we provide services allows you to then graduate into a level 2, and then time later also graduate into a level 3. So I really want people to take us in the beginning and earn up all the way through on those level 3s. And we're always going to have to be able to prospect good talent that's out there. But the next person after that's going to be a half salesperson. And I don't do sales like normal people. If you listen to the show for any period of time, you know that I don't want to convince you to buy something that I want to sell you. My goal is to just know a lot of stuff and listen to a complaint or listen to a need that you might have and shop those things, taking myself out of the equation. You know how many times people come up to me and say, hey, should we buy a computer from you? And I almost talk them out of buying it from me because it doesn't make sense for them to buy from me. And that is rare, especially if you have someone who, I make margin when someone buys from me. And so when I tell you that it's, we're not a right fit, I mean, that takes a lot of a lot of discipline. And so our salespeople have to be trained to not put their interests ahead of customer. And I'm not accusing regular salespeople of doing that, but it's just a different flavor so that people, when they drop their guard, they're not afraid to tell me that they want someone. I can really get better information from people when they spill their guts and know that because they say, I'll put it this way. If someone walked through my door and said, hey, I want to buy a computer and I've got $1,263 in my account to spend, right? That is a challenge to me to not say, well, amazingly enough, I have a computer that costs exactly that, right? That would be sort of the sales, is to harvest down what people are willing to spend. I don't like that game because you're not going to share with me, and then I can't serve you well if you don't share with me. If you tell me that, then that's not even going to be my focus, right? That just knows that I've got a top-end budget of that. I need to know more before I start selling to you, because the system you need might be a $600 machine, so you're going to have $600 left over after you and I have a conversation. And that's the kind of relationship I have with my customers, is I want them to overtell me and have faith and know that I'm not going to take advantage of the information that they give me, because it just helps me serve better. So all of my sales, again, so I'm going to be hiring a salesperson in the future that I'm going to teach this method of selling for, take me out of the equation, because I've been doing all of that for 20 years now, and it's time to show the next generation. So growing and expanding company, hiring lots of people. So if you're in the mode where either you or someone you know wants to get into the computer field and learn how to do this way, I consider it the right way, the best way, and send them send their resume to me at joe@youngstowncomputer.com, and then when we go through level 1, level 2, level 3, I can have a good sampling of resumes, as well as that sales position as well. So anybody, if you're personally interested or you know someone interested, please get that over to me. I appreciate it. And so that was a long spiel on the internal workings of Youngstown Computer. I appreciate you putting up with that. Now, next thing, talk about something in tech. I was we every month or so we do something about cutting the cable, and most of us were a little bit getting upset that our cable bills kept going up, and the access to the stuff that we wanted to watch. I mean, we had 500 channels, of which we watched like 10 of them for the longest time. And we were, with our cable bill, we were always paying for new content, and it never applied to what we were actually interested in watching. So we were interested in maybe, helping with the cutting the cable movement, so that people who want to watch stuff just end up buying what we want to watch, and we don't have to spend our money and pay for channels that we have no interest in. Like, how many months have you paid for those, small stations that you never watch anything, but $2 or $3 of your bill went to them anyway, right? Well, I just feel like, that was something, those forced sales was something that wasn't working in the best interest of all of us, especially because our bills kept going up and they kept adding content that we weren't interested in. So we started out with Sling TV was the first one, where we wanted to stream all of our cable. We cut off the actual digital cable box, and Sling TV was it. I've since sampled just about every provider. We've done Sling TV, we've done Hulu, we've done Netflix, and we've gotten some of the just regular traditional YouTube feeds. But now YouTube TV is finally out in our area, so that is the next one that I'm attempting. I'm going to attempt to subscribe to and to see if it's a good replacement for Hulu. Now, Hulu content-wise, I love it. It's had everything. It's pretty much had everything except for there was one sporting event that I had to go back to antenna, but pretty much they had everything else when there wasn't a blackout. And so the next one is YouTube TV, and I didn't, with Hulu, my big thing was I didn't like how it was organized. It was hard for me to navigate and find what I wanted to watch, and that was it didn't have to be like that. So I'm hoping YouTube TV has the same content and it's a little bit able. But I will share the experience in coming weeks, how that's going, and if it was a good enough replacement. 330-729-9977. You can text me at 333-157. Let's go to Emmanuel. Emmanuel, you're on the Youngstown Computer Show. How can I help you?
Well, how you doing this afternoon, Joe?
I'm doing good. How about you?
I'm a little bit confused, so I figured I'd call you up.
Sure, I'm ready.
Now, they're talking, you hear 2G, 3G, 5G, and they're saying that the technology that we're using, instead of going forward, is going to be going backwards, because they're going to be using more towers closer together instead of one big tower with satellites hooked up to it. As a novice, which I am, can you explain to me the theory and what they are and what they aren't doing right now, especially the Chinese?
Absolutely. All right. Thanks for calling. And so here's what it comes down to. And we're dealing with spectrums, right? These frequencies that are available to manufacturers. Okay, so let's take G versus N. Okay, so G frequency travels really vast distances. And I'm going to make this up. I don't even remember what G is. I think it's 54 megabits per second is wireless G. So vast distances, 54 megabits is sort of the most you can fit down that pipe. Now, N is a frequency that travels about half the distance of G. So it doesn't penetrate through concrete walls as much. It doesn't go further. But now you're up into 3 times the speed that wireless G. So N was a spectrum above. It's the next generation, and it travels less distances, but you can fit more bandwidth down it. So that's sort of an analogy about how we're going from 4G to 5G, where the frequencies change, so their attributes change. I wouldn't say that it's a step backwards. It's just a different technology that has different advantages, disadvantages. So I think they're going to, like you said, have to put these antennas closer together to get the same coverage, but they will be able to support much bigger bandwidths when you're in those coverage areas. So, I mean, if you're a person that sort of looks at how these spectrums are, affecting biologically, if you're near a tower and these towers are pumping, tons of energy to be able to get further ranges, you might welcome something that's pumping less energy to get lesser ranges, bit more bandwidth. So again, we'll wait to see how this plays out, because early on in the technologies, they find a balance that works with the interferences with other technologies around them. So its final iteration that we actually get to use might be different than what they're playing out. Now, I thought you were going to bring something up with 5G, because I think you were the person who first said, is 5G going to be a dangerous thing? And at the time, everything that I'd read up to it, I knew the players, I knew it was originating in China, and I knew that it was there was one manufacturer that was spearheading it. And I think you said, do we have a security risk here? And I said, my response was, let's keep our eyes open to this and see if there's going to be a security thing. And then you had companies like AT&T and Verizon that started taking the 5G and totally running with it and implementing it and field testing it and said, wow, this 5G is a thing. And then the backdoor channels and the security flaws and what was possible because the manufacturers of the stuff was putting software controls in there that could use data that was harvested from people who are using these systems. I'm taking a new eye to this. And it might be a little bit more of what you suggested early on, Emmanuel, that it might represent a little bit more of a security risk than all of us could have imagined. So before we get on the I support 5G bandwagon, where I think it's inevitably going to happen, I think there's going to be some security concerns that the government's going to have to ferret out for us. That's not a consumer thing. This is before we put this in our infrastructure, we got to make sure that we don't have a foreign, especially an adversary, able to grab information from consumers in the United States without having some kind of way to thwart that. But and this would be this would be awesome. So if we took the 5G, reverse engineered it, and created our own 5G that didn't have these security vulnerabilities, I would love that. That would be like a punch in the face to China for how much they do that to us and what they did with our solar panels and all the other technology. Honestly, if they did that, they would be my hero, because it's been long overdue. Now they would obviously go to the national or the international body and complain at us, and maybe we should take the high road. But man, would that be justice if we could take a reverse engineering on such a profound technology that is pretty inevitable and release our own version of that and fly right in the face of, I think it's Huawei, Haiwaii, something like that, and the Chinese government spearheading it, because a lot of their products, they're backed by the Chinese government, so that company has to do what the government of China says to do. And so that software that comes out with it, give us access to it, give us access to the source code company, and then we'll sort through it, and our engineers will find out how much of a security concern. But again, it's on my radar again to talk about, because I don't want to say, go out and throw a tower up and then put ourselves at a huge disadvantage to a Chinese company. I don't think that's smart in any way. So thank you for the phone call, Emmanuel. Appreciate Emmanuel, a great contributor to this program through the whole history of the program. He's been calling and listening for a while. So I thank you. And everybody else out there. I mean, like I said, this program is a blessing to us. It's done great for our company, what we've been able to do over the years because of what this radio station's gifted us and allowed us to do. And I listened to a couple of old shows, and it was terrible in the beginning. We were not radio people; we were tech people, so it was tough to get through some of our early shows. But they had faith in us and kept us going, and it evolved into something that I feel like what we do is pretty valuable. I think we've done a lot to help people. I mean, run into people all the time at the Canfield Fair. People who started listening to me early on didn't know what they were doing, and they owe the confidence to be able to, dabble in this stuff, and they became great users because of the confidence we were able to give them. Even if it's little packages of confidence, we handed it to them, and it took a little bit of the fear and ambiguity out of using this stuff. So I think what we do here is what we'll keep doing for many years to come. Even if we have to carry the show for years to come, we'll do it because I believe that we've made people better because of it. So 330-729-9977 is the phone number. You can also text at 330-333-1570. We'll take your calls after we come back from this break. You're listening to the Youngstown Computer Show on 570 WKBN. We'll be right back.
Governor Mike DeWine, Auditor Keith Faber, and Congressman Bill Johnson. They were all on our program this week. They're on the podcast. Search Your Voice in the Valley, Dan Rivers, 570 WKBN. I'll see you the day after Labor Day.
It's time for Taylor. Taylor Kia of Hermitage, now open. And Taylor Kia of Boardman. Get the ultimate Kia shopping experience and hassle-free credit approval from the Taylor Credit Team during our hot summer savings event. For a limited time, drive select 2019 Kias with 0% financing up to 75 months. Calling all trades. Don't make a $6,000 mistake. Taylor gives you up to $6,000 over Kelly Blue Book Fair Trade. Taylor Kia of Boardman.com. And the all-new Taylor Kia Hermitage.com. It's time for Taylor. Taylor Kia.
Well qualified buyers with approved credit on select inventory. Down pay and term vary. See dealer for complete details. Offers are mutually exclusive and end date 31/19.
Hey, it's Ron Verb for Nature Stone. Never replace your basement flooring again. With those horrible storms that gave you moisture, dampness, or flooding in your basements, and then you're removing smelly, nasty, moldy, ruined carpets, Nature Stone's the only solution that will stand up to moisture, dampness, even flooding. I repeat, it's the only solution. It's simple to clean and maintain. It's comfortable, too. So if your basement's damp, dirty, not somewhere you want to spend time, let's change that with Nature Stone. Get it installed in your basement by the end of August. Get up to 50% off. Schedule your free in-home estimate at naturestone.com.
If you don't know your numbers, you don't know your business.
Meet Evan Goldberg, founder of NetSuite.
I had to learn that the hard way with my first company. That's why I started NetSuite. I needed to see everything that was going on with my business in one place, so we built the world's first cloud business system. And after 20 years, over 16,000 companies run their businesses on NetSuite. Everything you need to keep growing is in one place. Financials, HR, commerce, customer info, and more. NetSuite gives you the visibility and control you need to make smart decisions and grow with confidence. That's why companies who use NetSuite grow 3 times faster than the S&P 500.
Find out the rest of Evan's story and get your free guide titled 7 Key Strategies to Grow Your Profits at netsuite.com/improve. That's netsuite.com/improve for your free guide, 7 Key Strategies to Grow Your Profits. Go right now to netsuite.com/improve.
Seems like the new buzzword these days is VPN, but what is VPN? Now, that stands for Virtual Private Network, and that's a technology that encrypts all the information you send through any Wi-Fi system. Now, a lot of companies make VPNs, but the one I want to tell you about is Norton Secure VPN. Now, it's made by Norton, and that is a brand backed by one of the world's largest civilian cyber intelligence networks with over 30 years' experience. Now, Norton features bank-grade encryption, and it's simple to use. No complicated complicated setup. Just log in once. It protects your connection, whether you're on your home network or you're using public Wi-Fi. And right now, you get Norton Secure VPN when you go to norton.com/VPN. That's norton.com/VPN. Now, it starts at $3.33 a month with your annual subscription. So you want to encrypt every email you send and receive, every text you send and receive. Get Norton Secure VPN, $3.33 a month with your annual subscription. Just go to norton.com/VPN. Terms apply.
Hi, I'm Jasmine Morris. In my new true crime podcast, Hitman, I'm going to tell you about a book that's no longer in print. It's an instruction manual for murder. I've been looking into who used it, who was hurt by it, and how the truth behind this book was bigger than I realized. From iHeartRadio and Hit Home Media, this is Hitman. iHeartRadio is #1 for podcasts, but don't take our word for it. Find Hitman on the iHeartRadio app or wherever you get your podcasts.
All right, welcome back, everybody. This is the Youngstown Computer Show. I am Joe Danier, owner of Youngstown Computer. This is your Saturday show. We were talking about streaming over the last break here, and I just wanted to mention, here's what I'm going to try to accomplish and what I really like about how this technically functions. Okay, so most of us are, every computer is your tuner, right? You have a TV that has software in it, and it connects to your cable, and it does its own channel. I think what's going to end up happening is your TV is just going to be a display. All of the major stuff happens in your phone. And then so what I'm able to accomplish with, we'll say, with Hulu, is I'm able to take a Hulu video feed, and once it starts playing in a browser or a player, that I can then take whatever I'm watching and I can send it to a television through a Chromecast. And then it picks up, the Chromecast actually picks up the feed, takes the pressure back off of my phone. So the phone's no longer streaming the content. It's sent the content to the television. So you have a television that's just basically a big monitor, and you have a Chromecast as something that has to manage an incoming feed, but everything is selected by your phone or your computer. So that way you don't have to have all of this redundant technology, all of this circuitry that has to go into every television where you're managing it all from your phone anyhow. So if your phone has your subscription services and the things you pay for, then you can go around and use your phone as a little remote control and just send whatever you want to watch out to whatever display. So you can send it, you're sitting in a doctor's office, and once those TVs, you can actually send what you're watching from your phone to anything that could receive that incoming connection. And so I think that's what I'm going to try to accomplish with this YouTube TV. Works really well with Chromecast. So I'm going to get a couple of Chromecasts, which these things cost $60, right? So you take your phone, iPhone, Android, and you download the YouTube TV app and you subscribe, or you do the Hulu app and you subscribe, and you pick out your channels and you pick out your content, and then you open up, we'll say the football game that's on right now. Open up the football game and you start watching on your phone, and then there's a little icon that's at the top right-hand corner of the feed that looks like sort of like a wireless signal that's hanging at an angle. You tap on that and you pick the device that you want to send it to. You tap on that and it's gone. It goes up on the computer. Your volume controls still are on your phone, but now your phone isn't involved in the source of the feed. You could turn your phone off and it still continues to play on your TV. That's where I think we're headed. All right, we're going to take a break, come back, take some more of your phone calls, 330-729-9977, or you can text me at 333-1570. You're listening to the Youngstown Computer Show on 570 WKBN. I'll be back.
Don Brady here for the Montrose Superstore of Hermitage. Folks, summer is almost over and it's your last chance to take advantage of our hot deals. We're leaving our doors open Labor Day from 11 to 4 and extending our Nissan and GMC deals to September 3rd. So what are you waiting for? PA already has lower dock fees and interest rates than Ohio. Let me help get you into your brand new car. Stop out and take advantage of these last few days of our summer deals with Montrose, Nissan, Buick, GMC, and Cadillac of Hermitage. You've got a friend at Montrose.
Hey friends, got a real estate question? Tune in Sunday mornings at 8 and listen to Kelly and Jim Warren for the right answers about real estate. Yes, she's the only agent who guarantees to sell your house or she'll buy it. Sunday mornings at 8, 570 WKBN.
This is Dr. David Vitko. Do you know the difference between not being sick and being truly healthy? Listen to my show, Enjoy Incredible Health, with Dr. David Vitko on Sunday mornings at 9 a.m. on 570 WKBN.
On AM and thousands of devices, including Amazon Echo, Google Home, and Sonos. With our iHeartRadio app, 570 WKBN, Youngstown. It's 2 o'clock.
From ABC News, I'm Michelle Franzen. Hurricane Dorian taking shape and now projected to rake the eastern seaboard, possibly making landfall in South Carolina or Georgia. Florida still impacted, but not likely to take a direct hit. For now, Dorian remains a Category 4 storm, but isn't far off from becoming a Category 5. ABC's Pete Combs is in Delray Beach, Florida.
Most of Miami-Dade is now out of the direct path of the storm. But for Mayor Carlos Jimenez, that's no reason to celebrate.
Still way too early to let our guard down.
That unexpected big right turn now means it's unlikely Dorian will make a direct assault on the Florida coast. But Florida's good news could spell disaster for parts of Georgia, North and South Carolina. They have declared emergencies, putting people and assets where they need to be to respond to the storm. Pete Combs, ABC News, Delray Beach, Florida.
Right now, Hurricane Dorian expected to skirt the Bahamas by Sunday night. ABC's Marcus Moore is there with more.
They are on high alert here in this part of the Bahamas, where they're preparing for a possible direct hit, and we could begin to feel the effects of Dorian in the next few hours. In fact, they'll be shutting down the airport later today and a number of the businesses that have been open over concern for this storm.
Federal investigators say they're looking into the deaths of as many as 11 veterans at a VA hospital in Clarksburg, West Virginia, including 82-year-old Felix McDermott, a Vietnam vet. More from ABC News Chief Justice Correspondent Pierre Thomas.
Last year, authorities say someone at the hospital injected McDermott with insulin, even though he was not diabetic, and it killed him. The medical examiner flatly saying the manner of death is homicide after being administered by an assailant. His family has filed a wrongful death claim, alleging the other patients were also injected with insulin they did not need.
ABC's Pierre Thomas. You're listening to ABC News.
Here's what's happening in the Valley. An attempted robbery took place at Conroy's Party Shop on South Avenue around 11:30 p.m. Friday. Police say 4 men with guns entered the store, 2 of which were shot by the store's owner. Those 2 men were taken to St. Elizabeth Hospital and are currently in critical condition. At least a dozen people were in the area during the shooting, some inside the store. Luckily, none of the customers or employees were hurt. The Boardman 18-year-old who prosecutors say encouraged others to shoot federal agents is going to stay locked up until his trial. Justin Olson was in federal court yesterday. He was indicted earlier this month. Olson entered not guilty pleas to charges of threatening to assault federal law enforcement officers and making interstate communication threats. Mahoning County engineer Pat Giannetti said the project to build a roundabout along Western Reserve Road is making progress and on schedule. The project will convert the old 5 Points intersection with North Lima and Springfield roads into a continuous loop. Giannetti said work will start on the southern end of the roundabout after the holiday weekend, and barring any unforeseen issues, the project will be completed later this year. After 150 years, The Vindicator published its last paper yesterday. Beginning today, the Vindicator edition of the Tribune Chronicle will be published for the first time. Current Vindy subscribers will automatically receive the new edition. In sports, the Indians were shut out by the Rays yesterday 4-0. Game 2 of the series is set for this afternoon with a 6:10 first pitch. Indians warm up at 5:35 here on 570 WKBN. From the Power Chevrolet Buick GMC of Calcutta, Ohio newsroom, I'm Viking Jim on News Radio 570 WKBN.
Cool your home for summer. Call Maz's Air Conditioning in Girard. 330-545-6063. Your factory-authorized Bryant dealer. Now, the Storm Team 27 forecast.
Temperature is going to be right where you want them as you head out for your Saturday afternoon in the mid to upper 70s with partly cloudy skies. As we head into overnight, we drop back down to the mid 50s. Great sleeping weather. In the Storm Team 27 Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Alexis Walters.
Quiet, comfort, and affordability. The most important things when choosing a place to live. Westchester Square Apartments offers something to fit every need and budget. 2-bedroom, 1-bedroom, and studio apartments. They rent apartments, but they sell convenience. You can find luxury living at Westchester Executive Apartments, 1,200 square feet of upscale living with carports, or independent senior living at Westchester Commons, strategically located in the center of Austintown, right next to Route 11. For the perfect apartment, call 330-799-5758. Come and be a good neighbor in a community of good neighbors. Westchester Square Apartments, Austintown.
Denise DeFala here with big news about Pella. We're talking top honors from Consumer Reports. 3 Pella window lines earned the title of Best Replacement Windows on the market. In fact, the Pella 350 series got the highest overall score of any of the vinyl windows they tested. Get the best for your home. Call 877-98-PELLA. Take advantage of 0% financing. And right now, get $150 off windows and $500 off patio doors. PellaYoungstown.com.
Tired for no reason? Muscle weakness or high blood pressure? The cause can be as simple as a vitamin D deficiency. People in Northeast Ohio and Western PA don't make enough vitamin D, and it affects their health. Listen this Sunday morning at 7 a.m. for more information. That's Sunday at 7 a.m.
All right, welcome back, everybody. This is the Youngstown Computer Show. I am Joe Danier, owner of Youngstown Computer, and this is your Saturday show where we talk about things that are happening in tech. We open the floor to you all program long, so anything that's in your melon you want to get out there, ask or comment on, feel free, 330-729-9977, or you can text me at 333-1570 as you're going around and about today. It's cool to have that number in your phone, and that way if anything strikes you while you're listening to the program, you can bounce that off of me. Those quippy ones, those quick hitters are some of my favorite because they're easy to read and pay attention to during the program. So 330-333-1570 is the text messaging number. All right, so the Vindicator stuff. Let me give you my take on this because I watch this and it truly is a shame when you have something that's been such a great part of our community for so long. Again, they couldn't find a way in their model to be able to pull it off. But what I'm watching happen is your big hope for it is that even if something has to change forms, that it sort of retains its value. And so the important part of the Vindicator was, it had this great place. The name had its great place in our community. It had great people. If you've ever met any of the Vindicator, the salespeople, the reporters, everybody involved in it. I mean, I really had a lot of friends that had worked there, and they were all really fantastic people. So from that perspective, you want to make sure that talent finds its way into another company, gets employed by another company, and you just knew that somebody was going to snatch them up, and some people were going to have to move out of the area to use their talents. But still, it's the value removal that would have been the shame, not necessarily that the Vindicator changes forms. So maybe this area can support one company that produces 2 newspapers instead of 2 competing companies that produce newspapers. So letting the Tribune to be able to inherit the valuable parts and strip away the parts that weren't so valuable, something that maybe the Vindicator couldn't do with their infrastructure, now has an opportunity to do. So you got to watch this sort of from 10,000 feet away, seeing it happen. And in the best set of circumstances, if it had to happen, this is the iteration that probably makes the most sense. You're seeing some of our reporters find homes over at the Vindicator. You're seeing that the Vindicator name will live on. So I'm glad that this has worked out the way that it has. Those of you who weren't able to find jobs, I pray for you and hope that you get something lined up and that somebody makes use of your talents. So I look forward to seeing what the Vindicator digital side becomes, and my door's always open cooperation-wise. I know Todd Franco over there, huge innovator when it comes to the digital side of the Vindicator, so I hope that Todd Franco still has some involvement in that side. Big talent, big vision for that, and so hopefully he keeps part of that integration. But again, my door's always open, so if anybody needs anything is if you want cooperation from us from the technical side, cooperation us from the media side, cooperation from us from the streaming and content side, doors always open. So feel free when you learn of what the new set of rules are, bring it to the table and so we'll see what we could do to help you. I am a big advocate and ally to all business in this area. So all of you, don't hesitate to come find me, and where I can help, I absolutely will, even if it means just letting people know that what yours, because a lot of times just lining people up. I had a guy come up to me and say, I have this programming project that's coming up, and I'm having a real struggle to be able to find people that do programming work. I was like, hey, I know Joe Dunko, and all I'm going to do is hand you off to Joe Dunko. Joe Dunko is one of the persons I have a lot of respect for in the programming world, because he's got this group of programmers that he manages, and he takes jobs and filters them down to the people who actually work on these projects, and he makes sure that these projects don't go unfilled, because honestly, if they don't get filled here, they're going to get filled somewhere else, and I'd prefer them to be filled here. He's never done wrong by me, so I had no problem, no qualms of handing this person off to Joe Dunko, and I got a message on Facebook a couple weeks ago that said, yeah, thanks so much, I got this covered. So sometimes it's just a matter of you coming to me, telling what you need, and see if I know somebody that's close enough to what you need to hand you off to. And sometimes those connections are all that's necessary to make sure that something doesn't go cold opportunity-wise. So 330-729-9977, or you can text me at 333-1570, all program long. So that's my take on El Vindicatoro. Next, this is more of a technical side. So what's kept us really busy going into the final 2 quarters of 2019, you have 2 things happening. Number one, you have the end of life for Windows 7. So if you're operating on Windows 7 right now, at the end of this year, beginning of 2020, Microsoft has put a hit out on 2007 Windows 7. And so all that means is it'll continue to operate. You're still going to have if we walk up on January 21st, and you're still going to have Windows 7 on it. But if you do Windows updates, probably not going to have much in the way of Windows updates to run, because they're removing support from it. So if they find a vulnerability, it's an end-of-life product. They're not going to produce for it. They're not going to make accommodations for it. They're not going to make backwards compatibility for it. So as long as it's functioning and working, there's no reason to get off of it, except from a security perspective, that if there's a vulnerability, they're not going to patch for it. And so it's just probably, if you get through January and February and March, it's only because you've taken all of the really important roles off of that machine and moved it something more secure. I wouldn't operate on it much beyond the first couple months, because they really hit those products hard. I had a Windows 2000 machine that I did my streaming. I did a Streamcast server on for radio broadcasts, and I think the end of life hit, and it wasn't 2 months. And I'm sitting at my desktop one day, and I just watched my computer turn a different color, the desktop turn a different color, and the mouse move across the screen. It took only a couple months before a perfectly secure machine got hacked to the point where someone was able to take remote control right in front of me. And so it's one of those things where I just don't take risks like that for myself personally or for any of my customers. So end of life means that people are now taking July, August, September, October, November, December, and replacing or upgrading equipment. That's what's keeping us super, super busy. We're doing 2 and 3 new computer sales per week. That goes along with setting up software and stuff like that. So it's a big undertaking. And then as well as doing upgrades on equipment that's sort of like new enough to be able to take an upgrade. My threshold is about 5 years. So if your computer is 5 years or younger, we'll do the Windows 10 upgrade on Windows 7. If it's older than that, then it's usually time for that machine to be replaced and get something that has Windows 10. So we've been going through and doing all of those end of year stuff. And so if you're due for that, if you're one of my customers or you want to be one of my customers, call me and let me know how many machines that you have on your plate, and we'll do our best to help you get those replaced. Again, we're constantly in the mode of building, and we're taking care of the customers first that have the end of life problems rather than just upgrades. So just let me know that you want to get in line so I can make sure that I get to you before January. Second thing is this 1903 update for Windows 10. Windows 10 is a product that they promise not to ever evolve into another product. It will always be Windows 10. You, as a consumer, have to then agree to make sure that you run these yearly updates that happen in May of every year. And they will run an update, and it's usually a major update. Like, this is what a new operating system would be if it were no operating system. So if they were able to launch a new operating system. So you get some GUI changes, the user interface changes. You get some structural changes, security changes. So it could behave and act and look a little bit different when you run these things. But you have to agree to do them every year. So you get to like July, August, and they queue them up, and they really want you to run these things because you agreed to. Now we're running around like crazy people. This update takes a couple hours to be able to run. So when we run our maintenances, we'll run through and see if anybody who is due for the 1903 update to run those updates while we're doing other things, because it takes quite a bit of time. So again, if you haven't run of these, it's probably queued up and waiting and sitting there. So mention it to us again if you want to be one of our customers, and we can definitely run through and do maintenance on it and get to all these 1903s. It's pretty important. And again, I have a couple machines, even on my one that I come home to every day. I noticed this morning that I hadn't run mine yet, and I'm like, you know what? I'd be pretty disappointed if I'm the guy that lectures everybody on running this stupid update, and I get home and it's not updated on mine. But I just did that today on mine. And it was I had to run over and use a different machine while the thing was updating, because it did take quite a bit. But I haven't done it yet. All you got to do is go to the start button, go to the little gear settings icon, and go to updates. And then if you run updates and say all updates have done, look right below that. And there might be a little heading that says major 1903 update, download and install now. It's a separate. It's not going to just automatically run. It might be queued right below that. So maybe you go home right now or you're sitting in front of your desktop. Go check that out. And if it hasn't been run, I would suggest doing it, where it's going to take a little while. It does add some performance. That's what I noticed right off the get-go. It runs a little bit faster between menuing. So if you go to the start and you know how that little panel comes up that interfaces with Cortana, that happens a little bit more streamlined and faster. So I did get a little bit of CPU relief on the new update. So you might want to consider doing that from that standpoint. So two things. Before the end of the year, we've got the end of life for Windows 7. If you've got Windows 7, pretty much if you're looking at your computer and your little Windows button at the bottom is blue, then you've got Windows 7. If it's black, then you've got Windows 10, and that's the easiest way. But you can also right-click on your computer and go to Properties, and it'll tell you what operating system that you're using if you're unsure. The stuff that you buy from us is the Pro version of Windows 10, and where that matters, the Home version versus the Pro, is there's about a $60 difference between the two operating systems. So if you don't need the Pro, you're not doing any home networking, or you're not doing any sharing data across the network, stuff like that, then you can get away with the $60 cheaper version of the operating system that then saves you a little bit of money on the overall purchase. So the ones that we sell are all going to be Pro. And because we primarily sell to most companies and businesses, so it makes sense to have one that participates in networks as our standard. We build the same system over and over and over and over again. We can do customizations, but if you buy from us, we basically buy the sweet spot hardware for whenever you're buying. So right now, we're buying the 9th generation i5s with 8 gigs of memory and a solid state drive. So that is our sweet spot, where you're getting the most amount of value without having to buy much in the way of the research and development costs that go into new products. Like when they come out with a new version of the i5, it'll be more expensive than the last revision, because one is in full-blown production, having already recouped its R&D costs. The one that just came out has a lot of ground to catch up on. It's brand new, isn't in full development or full production, so it costs a little bit more. So that's why your brand new machines that have the brand new processor cost a little bit more, because you're buying a brand new processor. So, all right, there's a little bit of insight in this period, because when Microsoft forces these new purchases, that's what we all end up doing. We've been wanting a new computer anyway, so that we go buy a new computer, and then we're faced with all the decisions about what it is that we're buying. And, AMD versus Intel, 8 gigs of memory versus 16, solid state drive versus mechanical. All of these are considerations, and they all have some weight in the decision making. So the one that we're selling, and this is sort of the Joe standard. A lot of you out there watch what we do, and you just emulate it, and that's a pretty keen you don't have to. If you didn't want to invest the time in knowing this, if you just watch what we do and do that too, that is probably your best bet into not overdoing it. Because a lot of you buy equipment that you don't need. You overspend on equipment and end up buying something that you're not going to get any benefit of. And we hope that you don't do that by following our strides. So we're buying an i5 9th generation. So look at the tag on the computer that you're buying and make sure that you're at 9th generation. 8th generation is going to be last year. 7th generation is going to be the year before that. So 9th generation is current. A solid state drive versus mechanical. You have spinning platters that are read like a record rather than high-speed memory like your RAM chips that are in there. Solid state drives have become more economical than mechanical drives. So there's no reason. Now, high capacities, you're going to want to go mechanical. But anything that needs to be high speed, that is your operating system and all of your programs, you want to be on the solid state drive. And then you want all your media like movies and pictures and whatever. Throw that on an external mechanical drive. Throw it on or a mechanical internal drive, one of those two things. But you want all your stuff that needs performance to be on the solid state drive. They have those hybrid drives. I'm not a real big fan of them, but they're better than all mechanical. So when you're looking at the drive letter, if it is a solid state, it'll say SSD, solid state drive. If it's mechanical, you'll see something like 7,200 RPM. Well, RPM is spinning platters, so that's what they're referring to. And then the amount of RAM, the minimum amount of RAM for Windows 10 is 8 gigs. We don't want, 4 gigs is the minimum. We don't want you to be operating at the minimum, so we recommend going to the 16 gig, and you could even go beyond that. For most users, 16 is that. 8 is that sweet spot. 16 for power users and people who use lots of video, audio, pictures, stuff like high-intensive applications and operations. So that's sort of the rule of thumb there. Intel versus AMD. I'm sort of losing my explanation between the advantage of the two. It's become that it used to be, and I hate with these things. I'll finish that thought when we come back from the break. It used to be, though, that Intel had a significant advantage in the commercial setting where AMD did not. AMD was for gamers. Intel was for business people. And that the line between the two is blurred so much. But I'll finish those thoughts when we come back about Intel versus AMD. You're listening to the Youngstown Computer Show on 570 WKBN. I'll be back.
Was an act of evil. Acts of kindness.
Congress must act. At the top and 30 minutes past the hour. Given the facts, stay informed. The time to act.
Now is the time.
We have to act. On 570 WKBN.
Win your way to our 2019 iHeartRadio Music Festival, plus $1,000. Yes. And you could score the ultimate VIP money can't buy grand prize experience, including front row tickets, 10 grand spending cash, backstage access with VIP meet and greets, first class flights, a Nightingale suite at the new Park MGM, and so much more. 2 nights, September 20th and 21st.
T-Mobile Arena here in Las Vegas.
You could be there in person. Just listen for your next chance to text and win.
Here's some great MVSN offers.
Handyman Supply of Niles has just about everything you need for your home, and they've always had an expert staff to answer all your do-it-yourself project questions. And now they're pleased to announce they have a brand new store in the 5th Street Plaza, Struthers. Handyman Ace Hardware of Struthers is now open and carries everything you need for your home. Hardware, plumbing, a fully stocked painting department, lawn and garden, even pool supplies. Plus the customer service you expect. Shop the all-new Handyman Ace Hardware of Struthers in the 5th Street Plaza.
Ace is the place with the helpful hardware, folks.
You deserve the very best. You deserve the Stadium Cadillac experience. You'll love the wide selection at Stadium Cadillac, and you'll appreciate the unparalleled customer service and the great selection of certified pre-owned Cadillacs. Discover your Stadium Cadillac experience.
It's time for all the excitement of go-karts and so much more at Sports World Family Fun Center on South Avenue in Boardman. Enjoy 18-hole adventure golf, arcade games, the batting cages, and so much more. Visit us on Facebook or online at BoardmanSportsWorld.com.
Hi, this is Eric Clark with Fairway Ford in Canfield. We are on a record pace for F-150 sales, and we are going to keep that going. What that means is Fairway, your F-150 leader, gets more trucks from the factory because we sell more. We sell the most because of price, service, and a simple no-haggle sales process. See us at fairwayfordohio.com or 330-533-FORD. Fairway, that's the way we do business.
paint? No, Paramount isn't just paint. It's the #1 paint in overall interior hide and stain resistance, providing the most advanced protection in just one coat. And now you can get that same outstanding protection with our new Paramount One Coat White. This first-of-its-kind one-coat ready mix white provides a beautiful white finish. You'll find Paramount paint exclusively at Menards. In third-party tests, interior paint claims versus super premium home center brands in eggshell sheen.
Get 11% off everything now at Menards. Savings or mail-in rebate. See store for details.
Message and data rates may apply.
Do you feel that you have something more to offer the world? Are you ready to realize your potential but have struggled to find a path that works around your commitments? With the W.P. Carey School of Business at Arizona State University, you can achieve greatness from anywhere, 100% online and on your schedule. Arizona State University offers some of the most highly ranked and selective master's degrees in the country, 100% online. Text WORLD to 79645. To learn more about earning the same prestigious MBA or Business Analytics master's degree offered on campus and work toward advancing your career as a business leader. If you've got trailblazing ideas, now's the time to realize your potential by earning your master's degree with the W.P. Carey School of Business at Arizona State University. Learn more about the school ranked #6 for best online graduate business programs by U.S. News and World Report. Text WORLD to 79645. That's WORLD to 79645.
All right, welcome back, everybody. This is the Youngstown Computer Show. I'm wondering, someone messaged me on Facebook, and it was coming from somebody who has a very, very, very long name. And I'm wondering if when I start talking smack about the Chinese or whatever, if somehow ever my words ever get back to the Chinese government and it pisses them off a little bit and they take action. I always wonder that. I don't think so, but then what are the chances of some very long... looks like many character names message me shortly after talking smack. I don't know. That's just a random thought. All right, so Intel versus AMD and the advantages/disadvantages. Used to be that the AMD chips that were manufactured always cost a little bit less than the Intel chips, and they also did floating point integers faster than Intel, so that made them great for gaming. So part of the math that goes into rendering graphics was more native to the chip. Okay, so where AMD would process graphics information, they cost less, they would also be a little bit less stable because they were able of handling more throughput. They were a little less stable. Where Intel, where they were a little bit more consistently slow, they were a little bit more expensive. They ran a little bit more stable. So I always had a preference between the two. Do I want the one that has a little bit slower but more stable when it comes to putting these things in offices versus gaming? So the gamers loved AMDs because it was cheaper and the graphics better, and you can handle a little bit of blue screens or instability. But the problem is that as time has gone by, AMD still has the price advantage. AMD has even thrown more cores to be utilized by software into the mix, and they've really not had I haven't seen an instance of instability in a really long time. And so I have taken the even with the Intel side, I don't necessarily like the integrations between the CPU handling so much of the role of the video processing that I've even offloaded it where I put a regular full-blown video card rather than taking that. So, for instance, the CPUs, they have a version of the CPU that doesn't do graphics processing. So they have the F version versus the other version. The one version is $100 or $270. The other version is $145. So I'll take the version that doesn't do the graphics processing and put that version as the processor, and then I'll put a GeForce video card in there to have it render the graphics. So you get best of both worlds. You get a whole card that is designated for video processing and let the CPU do its thing. So we got the best of both worlds on the Intel side. If I just did that with AMD, I would be able to get a processor that, sort of rolled that in a little bit better. So it might be worthwhile for me to look at AMD as something that I can put into the business world because I don't really have, I don't have anything that goes against the stability part anymore. Like it used to be a no-brainer. I'm not going to set up a computer and have you call me and say there was a blue screen. it ran fast, but it's a blue screen. That's not something that happens on the commercial side. I can't have people being down and not being able to do their job. They've got to be able to do their work. So a less fast computer that's just more stable, I'll take that every time. But again, I think I might, with my next machine, build an AMD for myself, use it, and if I can't tell the difference, would it be worthwhile to have an AMD that's $40 or $50 cheaper? I can offer the computer as a whole a little bit cheaper, and would anybody notice? So it's worthwhile looking into, especially we are a manufacturer, we're a credible manufacturer that we are going to have our own cases. We're going to be sourcing our own. We're not just an assembly vehicle anymore. I'm looking to be an actual manufacturer. So, again, thanks everybody who've purchased us over the last 2 years and given us hope that it's a demand item that's in demand. Appreciate you letting us do that for you. All right, more show to come up. If you want to call me, 330-729-9977. You can also text me at 333-1570. You're listening to the Youngstown Computer Show on 570 WKBN. I'll be back.
Hey guys, what puts a bigger smile on your face than driving around in a clean, older four-wheel drive truck? Imagine pulling into the hardware store in that lifted 85 Chevy K20, or getting all the thumbs up driving down the road in that 76 F-250 Highboy. This is Joe Fire from Fireball Motors. We sell those trucks. We specialize in non-rusty West Coast trucks from the 60s, 70s, 80s, and 90s that are under 10 grand. We are located on Route 422, just an eighth mile from the PA border, or online at fireballtrucks.com. And remember, Fireball means four-wheel drive.
Here's what's happening in the Valley. An attempted robbery took place at Conroy's Party Shop on South Avenue around 11:30 p.m. Friday. Police say 4 men with guns entered the store, 2 of which were shot by the store's owner. Those 2 men were taken to St. Elizabeth Hospital and are currently in critical condition. At least a dozen people were in the area during the shooting, some inside the store. Luckily, none of the customers or employees were hurt. The Boardman 18-year-old who prosecutors say encouraged others to shoot federal agents is going to stay locked up until his trial. Justin Olson was in federal court yesterday. Olson entered not guilty pleas to charges of threatening to assault federal law enforcement officers and making interstate communication threats. From the Power Chevrolet Buick GMC of Calcutta, Ohio newsroom, I'm Viking Jim on News Radio 570 WKBN.
Our next update at 3 from the O'Charley's Digital Studios. $9.99 menu, 9 great meals, 1 great price. O'Charley's. Need an AC checkup? Call Mazda's Air Conditioning in Girard, 330-545-6063. Your factory authorized Bryant dealer. Now, the Storm Team 27 forecast.
Temperature is going to be right where you want them as you head out for your Saturday afternoon in the mid to upper 70s with partly cloudy skies. As we head into overnight, we drop back down to the mid 50s. Great sleeping weather. In the Storm Team 27 Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Alexis Walters.
It's time for Taylor. Time for Taylor right now. It's time for Taylor. Time for Taylor right now.
It's time for Taylor Kia of Boardman, and the grand opening of Taylor Kia of Hermitage. Now open. Get the ultimate Kia shopping experience and hassle-free credit approval from the Taylor Credit Team during our hot summer savings event. For a limited time, drive select 2019 Kias with 0% financing up to 75 months. Calling all trades. Don't make a $6,000 mistake. Taylor gives you up to $6,000 over Kelley Blue Book Fair Trade. Taylor Kia of Boardman.com and the all-new Taylor Kia Hermitage.com. It's time for Taylor Kia.
Well qualified buyers with approved credit on select inventory. Down pay and term vary. See dealer for complete details. Offers are mutually exclusive and end date 31/19.
When it comes to your identity and the personal information on your devices, there's no soundtrack to let you know you're in danger. Today's digital world is so connected, it just takes one weak link for criminals to get in. Good thing LifeLock now adds the power of Norton Security. LifeLock uses proprietary technology to detect threats like your personal info for sale on the dark web. And Norton Security helps protect up to 5 devices from ransomware and other online threats. Plus, if you have a problem, our agents will work to fix it. No one can prevent all identity theft or cybercrime or monitor all transactions at all businesses, but with LifeLock, we can help alert you to danger. Join now and get 10% off your first year. Go to lifelock.com and enter promo code NEWS. That's promo code NEWS for 10% off. LifeLock with Norton. More detection, more protection.
At Land Pro, we're pros at finding your perfect fit. Right now, you can get a John Deere 1023E subcompact utility tractor with auto-connect drive-over mower deck and 120R loader for less than your cell phone bill. Land Pro equipment has the attachments you need for every season and at a price you can afford. Stop by your nearest Land Pro equipment location or request a quote at landproequipment.com.
John Deere and Land Pro equipment. The pros helping you work it.
All right, welcome back, everybody. This is the Youngstown Computer Show. I am Joe Danier, owner of Youngstown Computer, and this is your Saturday show where we get to talk about things that are happening in tech. It doesn't look like the people from TEDx are going to make it out to the program today, so let me kind of give you the details of what's happening. Last year, this is the second. I was involved on the board last year, helping to promote it. It was a huge success. Coming to Dior, doing it again this year, having speakers from around. Local and around the state, being able to speak. TEDx, if you're not familiar with it, the next generation, the Generation X and millennials are familiar with it. You can check out TEDx Talks where professionals put together a speech, 10-minute speech usually, and they pick a topic and usually very interesting. And these are very. I watched one on I'm into keto and health, so I watch a lot about people who have. These theories on cancer treatments and how we're approaching health in the next generation. It's interesting because you can see the people on the forefront of their fields give these talks. It's super interesting. I've learned more from TEDx talks and TED Talks than pretty much anything else. Anyway, we're getting one here in Youngstown, and it's going to be next Saturday at 9 a.m. It starts. They've got a whole bevy of speakers lined up, and you can go over to TEDxYoungstown.com. Buy your tickets for next week. It looks like they're $50 for VIP and $35 for general admission. And I was at the event last year. It was really amazing. I still keep in touch with some of the speakers from last year, and some of them are even actually on the board of this year's TEDx. So it's really interesting to watch this on social media take place. Really exciting for our area. So if you're looking for things to do to support our area, please support our TEDx Youngstown. Buying tickets or somehow being involved and showing your support. So that's TEDxYoungstown.com, and then you can buy the tickets right on Dior's ticketing website, and that's next week, starting early in the morning, and that's all I know at this point. So if you have details, you can use the contact form either on Facebook, social media, or you can check out TEDxYoungstown.com. Okay, so that's it. Let's check text messages, and here's my inevitable Tesla update since we've spoken last. We had, and I kind of combined SpaceX and Tesla and the Boring Company and Neuralink all together as one big company because it's first thing I do every morning is I check news feed, my news aggregates from those four companies, and what we had a couple weeks ago is SpaceX did a Starhopper launch, and this was a scaled down version of what will eventually become a Starhopper aircraft to seat human beings. And what's interesting about it is it was basically what they put together looked like a water tower that you see in New York that are on top of the buildings. It's just this really weird looking cylinder that has a triangle, a couple triangles for landing gear. And they launched this thing. They put a single rocket on the bottom, and they basically launched it and had it hover from 150 meters. And they hovered it, and then it landed exactly where it should have. What's exciting about that is they've already started building the actual Starhopper aircraft in Florida that's going to have multiple engines, and it's going to be much bigger than the prototype that launched in Texas this last week. Very exciting because this was the third and final engine test, the stability engine test that happened here. and they were successful. So I can imagine in sort of the near future that we're going to have the ability to put people on an aircraft and not just take them to the International Space Station. It seems like that's our only thing to do now is we shuttle people up, put them in the upper atmosphere, drop them off at the International Space Station, and come back. I sort of have more of a trajectory to go beyond, first the moon, then maybe Mars, and then beyond that, as our capabilities grow, to be able to push vehicles and people and keep them safe for longer and longer reaches out into our solar system. And space travel is and it's always been a thing. I mean, we've always had these bouts with traveling beyond our atmosphere. But I think our capabilities and technology have been limited. But I think now we're flirting with this. The private version of the space program is so much more capable because of when it's government financed, it's controlled by a budget that is sort of an emotional budget. Depending on what Congress you have in there decides whether or not space exploration's a thing and what should it satisfy. When we have private industry doing this, I mean, this is an enterprise where they're solving and tackling problems for you putting it through the model of capitalism. So if you were to say, like, what reason would SpaceX have to do, or what reason would capitalist reason would SpaceX do to go to the moon? I don't necessarily think we're going to set up hotel rooms on the moon, but I also watched people, and this was Virgin Galactic, already buy a seat for $200,000 to ride in a spacecraft into space and then return for $200,000. Already sold out, right? So you can see that if there's that much of a demand, I mean, thinking of the people, what they would be willing to pay to start traveling, and then the destination might become more of a thing, right? If you have people that are willing to do it, private people might be the ones investing in going to Mars and buying property on Mars and creating suits that allow you to occupy Mars and all this stuff way far out ahead of us. So I'm just really in tune with this, and I'm kind of watching this stuff play out. Second Tesla news here is so Tesla vehicles broke one mold where you can buy directly from Tesla when you buy a car versus when you buy a General Motors or a Chevy or a Ford, you end up buying from a dealership who buys directly from the manufacturer. So that mold was broken when you buy Tesla vehicles. The second thing is that the insurance industry have really, when you buy insurance for a Tesla, it's a little more expensive than just regular insurance. And so what Tesla did was they invented their own insurance company for their own cars. And they're saying that it's about 25% cheaper than your regular insurance company because they know their own cars and they're doing their own cars. So, I'm a cord cutter. So I don't like when you sort of take all of your things and make everybody pay disadvantages, right? You make everybody pay consequences. It's sometimes if we deregulate this and allow more companies to pursue it, the things sort of get a little bit cheaper. So that model of space exploration and doing cars and doing insurances, all of this is sort of in the same vein where we're flirting with different ways of distributing and selling products that aren't necessarily following the same models. And I love those sort of breakout companies that challenge the status quo. I can't say that consumers always win through it, but it's exciting to see that instead of just doing it because we've always done it, that sometimes we do new things, even if they're scary or not as good. But I'll tell you that Tesla takes fierce criticism from all of those industries, whether it be the car production companies, states, the fuel industry, all of the industries that have a lot to lose by them just going off and doing their own thing. I hate that more than anything else in our marketplace. When somebody does and takes a risk in something that's sort of unsure, not only are they fighting the currents on whether or not this is going to work out, but then they have the sabotage from the status quo people who want to take shots at them. So wherever you go, there's always a media or a government or an institution or an agency that are taking unfair shots at people who live sort of at that fringe. I'm a lover of technology. I'm a lover of people who push that, and it's kind of disheartening knowing that our innovators, and this isn't even now. Go back to Edison's time. Go back to Tesla's time. Not only were these people fought by the people, Edison and Tesla were fierce enemies. They tried to kill each other's model every chance that they got. They hated one another, right? But what would happen if we succumb to those things, and we wouldn't have had the light bulb, or we wouldn't have we'd be on DC, or we wouldn't have all of these innovations that came from people pushing that status quo. So if you're going to teach the next generation about how to interact with these people who are a little bit crazy and think that more can be done that they can't than is possible, put into their heads to maybe see more opportunities that are harder to see. Maybe have the imagination to be able to dust off things that are a little less clear. And make them so that we're supporting a little bit of these people rather than the first chance that somebody stumbles when they're doing something different, we want to kick their legs out underneath them and say see that wasn't going to work. But I love the fact that in fact, in spite of all of the criticisms and all of the fierce currents that are coming at them, that it seems like these people just don't care. You had Steve Jobs who just didn't care, and Elon Musk who just doesn't care, and Richard Branson just doesn't care. These people, they take these criticisms. If I read the Twitter responses to some of their posts, I mean, it would have me feeling so bad about what I was working on. I would say I go introspective. If somebody throws a criticism at me, I think, hey, do they know something that I don't? And I try to root through it. So if I participated in Facebook and took those criticisms and started thinking through all those responses, that I'd probably spend nothing else except for doubting myself and challenging my hopes, dreams, and beliefs. You got to almost discount everything that people are talking and saying because they're just mean and mean-spirited. And the only I don't even really know what their objective is other than to I don't know, just to dispirit you. And I hate that. Again, I hate that about our marketplace. I hate that about our social media. It's just a really mean place. And I'm a hopeful, optimistic person where it doesn't get in my way, but I contemplate things a little longer than I probably should when somebody has a pessimist. So it's been important to me to take pessimistic people and keep them at bay here, keep them away from what I'm working on because they just take my attention more than anything. And where it doesn't get me off track, it delays things. And I don't know, I'm not, I don't like things getting in my way that way. So again, insurance industry, they're taking on space travel, cars. So we're just probably months away from their advanced summon. And I was at the Canfield Fair on Thursday, and you have this wide parking lot where I was 15 rows away from the front gate. And I said, Debbie, when I was coming out there, I said, by this time next year, I'm going to stand at the gate and I'm going to go on my phone and I'm going to hit advanced summon. My car is going to pull out of the spot that it's in. It's going to roll down the aisles or the alleyways in the parking lot, and it's going to pick me up at the front gate. That's what I guarantee by next year. So we will see. We'll see if that's the case. They say a couple months before that product, that advancement is ready for us to start using. So we will see. And this has nothing to do with technology, but I make mention of it because I'm just that way. This goes along with my extreme hatred for speed cameras. And that's what prompted to see if there was let me pretend like I just didn't say that. All of you wipe that out of your short-term memory. So I was reading a rule, and I wanted to see if these license plate covers were legal in Ohio. And so I read it on the Ohio Revised Code, and so a police officer can deem whether or not a plate is being obstructed. So if you have a little plate cover that you put the plastic over it to keep it real nice and it's tinted, if it's not readable by a police officer that's got you pulled over sitting behind you, you could be ticketed for having something on there. So they had a bunch of these plates that had coatings on it that made it really hard to read no matter what angle you are in hopes of blocking the speed cameras. Well, I just want to keep my plate looking nice because now I'm deathly afraid of a police not being able to read my plate if it gets bleached out or whatever. So I wanted just something that makes it super readable and kept in pristine condition. So I got a plate cover coming it's a little bit of a bubble, right? It doesn't rub right against the plate, which again could rub the letters off of the plate and make it hard to read. But the bubble then, because it's away from it, the light could be magnified like a magnifying glass because it's beveled a little bit, and it could take the light and it might wash it out as well. So they got a coating on it that keeps it extremely. It's not that it's illegible, but it's basically diffused. So that light, when it goes through it, is diffused, so that you don't have this focal point, which could again wash out that paint. So the byproduct of this is, if I'm driving by and you're on a bridge, you're not going to be able to see my license plate. And I'm afraid that maybe people are up on satellites looking down, reading license plate before, and I believe in privacy, so I'm trying to keep my license plate number free from those eyes. Now, one of those byproducts is these speed cameras won't be able to see my plate as well. So we'll see how that goes. But that's not the intent of this plate. But I contacted this manufacturer and asked them if this works out and I'm happy with the product, I'd be for sure a happy distributor for this product. So I'll be testing it. Keep an eye on me on social media. I'm going to take the installation and how this thing looks and really get it a product preview. And again, if it works out, I want to save all of you from those peering satellites and the effects of washing out blue paint off of our license plates. I want to be here for you in that way. I believe it's like $50 for these plate covers, and if it just saves you from one Russian satellite peeking in on your license plate, then the whole thing will be worth it. So anyway, that's the newest tech that I got, a piece of plastic. Go figure. The biggest tech that I got to present today is a piece of beveled plastic. But hey, excited about it. Can't wait till it comes in. I actually had a friend who is a police officer who read that on my Facebook feed last week, and he commented on it. So I'm real interested that if we have any friends and this is not anti-police. None of this stuff that I ever say has anything to do with police. I'm solely against a tactic. Not the people behind the tactics, just the tactic itself. And that's why I'm putting myself in front of it and making a big and I'm not even getting these tickets. I'm not even speeding. I can't speed with autopilot. It regulates my speed. But just the fact that it exists, it's a principle thing with me. So I'm here for all of you out there. All right, 330-729-9977, or you can text me at 333-1570. You're listening to the Youngstown Computer Show on 570 WKBN. I'll be back.
Governor Mike DeWine, Auditor Keith Faber, and Congressman Bill Johnson. They were all on our program this week. They're on the podcast. Search Your Voice in the Valley, Dan Rivers, 570 WKBN. I'll see you the day after Labor Day.
It's our biggest event of the year. It's the Stadium GM Superstore Sign and Drive event. Right now, we have a new Buick Encore for only $189 a month. Just sign and drive with no money down. We have a new GMC Acadia for only $249 a month. Just sign and drive with no money down. And we also have a new GMC four-wheel drive Canyon Denali Crew Cab for only $289 a month. Just sign and drive with no money down. And right now, we will pay more for your trade-in than anywhere else. All this is exclusively at the Stadium GM Superstore in Salem.
Visit stadiumgm.com for details.
Your house becomes a home with Window Depot.
Valley homeowners trust Window Depot of Youngstown. Our triple pane windows offer unmatched beauty and energy efficiency.
To the hundreds of customers who have trusted us to remodel their home, we say thank you. Hi, it's Rich from Window Depot. Did you know all of our products are made right here in Ohio and Western Pennsylvania? Stay tuned to learn more about our current special offers.
It's our window blowout sale. Receive free installation on a house full of new windows. Ask about 18 months same as cash financing, senior and military discounts. Plus a bonus the first 10 callers to call 1-800-433-8577. That's 1-800-433-8577. Receive a $20 dinner for two gift card with their in-home estimate. Valley homeowners, call 1-800-433-8577. That's 1-800-433-8577. Call Window Depot now.
Prescription products require an online physician consultation and are only available if the physician determines a prescription is appropriate. See website for full details.
Hey guys, good news. The expensive Little Blue pill is now generic, which means you can get the prescription medication to treat ED at affordable prices. And now get your first month's supply for just $5 at 4hims.com/joy. Hims connects you with real doctors online who can prescribe the medication, and a pharmacy sends it right to your door. So easy. To get your first order for just $5, you need to go to 4hims.com/joy. That's FORHIMS.com/joy.
Did you know that the IRS is getting more aggressive these days? They're using private agencies to track you down and even started taking away passports. Don't wait. If you owe more than $10,000, take advantage of the Fresh Start Initiative, a program in place that can help you now. You can save thousands and possibly have your taxes forgiven. Join the thousands of taxpayers who've made the call to get protection from IRS collections. Call the experts at Oxford Tax Partners now about the Fresh Start program. If you qualify, it'll stop the IRS collection agencies from coming after you. Let the IRS negotiation experts at Oxford Tax Partners get you protected once and for all. Call the hotline now at 800-575-1919. That's 800-575-1919. There's help for those of you who owe $10,000 or more, but it's important that you take action before these programs change. Call the tax experts at Oxford Tax Partners for a free consultation now at 800-575-1919. 800-575-1919. That's 800-575-1919.
Ron Burgundy Podcast. The Ron Burgundy Podcast is back with a brand new season on the free iHeartRadio app. Make sure you tap follow so you don't miss a thing.
Hi, this is Ron Burgundy from the Ron Burgundy Podcast. We are back in the studio. Season 2, baby.
The iHeartRadio app, #1 for podcasts.
Listen to the Ron Burgundy Podcast on the iHeartRadio app.
iHeartRadio.
All right, welcome back, everybody. This is the Youngstown Computer Show. I am Joe Danier, owner of Youngstown Computer. Message from Facebook. Did I hear an announcement you are selling and manufacturing complete systems? ? Yes, Jeremy, we are selling computer systems. A couple years ago, we took this on just for our internal customers. We're commercial field services. So when somebody needs a new computer, we would go out and find out what they need and be able to buy them from manufacturers. We had one in Solon that we would buy from. We had Dell that we could go to, and basically when somebody needs something, we would distribute. But then the quality of the stuff started getting to the point where we couldn't do that anymore. So I said, hey, you know what? Screw this. We're going to make our own. We're going to employ our people here. We're going to build it here. So all of you in favor in this area that want to buy a computer and keep it here local, you have the opportunity now to buy from us. And people started placing orders. And so we keep a couple in stock at any given time. We still use them for our commercial side. All of our customers on the commercial side buy the Youngstown Computer build is what we call it. And it is the standard. So it is what we use in pretty much all applications. Our customers need X 99% of the time. So that's the one that we stock and keep building. The benefit of doing that is since it's the same build, we always have support parts and we can replace things super quick, because that's the name of the game on the commercial side. Is if someone goes down, I have the computer that they bought for me 6 months ago that has a problem. I don't even mess around fixing it. What I do is I just give them another one and I figure it out on my own time. So where it might cost you a little bit, you benefit a little bit because it's our configuration. And so we could just do a better job at doing it. So people, you're not going to, get the best price on a computer. That is for sure. You can get it cheaper going on the retail side. But I think, and motivated by being able to provide the best service, buying from us, that's what you end up getting is, it's using all industry standard components. As much of de-integration, as much as individual cards that we can possibly get is what we end up putting in there. The quality has to pass Joe standard. I just won't put the cheapest motherboard that I can find. No way, because I actually think I have to be able to sit in front of use this. It's not just extracting a purchase out of someone. It's really filling 99% of the needs out there. So yes, simple answer is we are definitely a manufacturer. We're assembler of computers now, hoping in the coming months to be able to manufacture, which is create some of the plastic in the cases and the branding that goes along with having our own brand. Right now, we just take the best quality components that we can from the regular marketplace and put together the best configuration that we possibly can. So I hope that answers your question, and thank you for giving me the opportunity to mention again. Number 4, Youngstown Computer, 330-259-7278. So if anybody has computer needs, we're taking commercial customers. Residential, we're still limited to windows per week. So you can go to our Facebook page and claim one of those windows. We have 10 to 12 and we have 2 to 4. So go to Facebook, look up Youngstown Computer LLC and pick out and pick your appointment out, and we'll make sure that you get taken care of. Again, 330-259-7278. Give us a call. All right, great show. We'll see you again next week. Have a great holiday week here this week. Now you've listened to the Youngstown Computer Show on 570 WKBN.